This review is gonna really hurt me because I built a Platinum last year and I never got it. And seeing this truck in person, I really wish I would have got my Platinum. Like, this truck is absolute fire. Special shout out to Larry H. Miller Super Ford here in Salt Lake City. These guys get a ton of trucks, and this is probably one of my favorite trim levels. I haven't seen the Limited yet, and I really don't need to after seeing this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the window sticker, and I'll show you guys around the truck. And as always, I'm gonna show you the payload. Now at the very top are the specs for this truck with the colors, and a short listing of the standard equipment. And here are all the options that were added to this truck. So this truck does not have the high output power stroke, it just has a standard output. And FX4 package, engine block heater, twin panel moonroof, a few other things down below here. And they did remove the multi-contour seat. Interesting. Destination's right there at $1995 with a total price of $94,255. I did order my Platinum in antimatter, but Star White is gorgeous. Like, this is a pretty color, and I do like this polished aluminum look on the front end of this truck. Something else I like about the Platinum is they give you the projector style headlights, and this kind of resembles a Lariat, like these designs in the center, but this breaks it up to show you that it's a higher trim level. Forward facing camera at the very front, chrome tow hooks, parking sensors, and your LED fog lights. Now your front diffuser is still huge. This is something I was going to change on my truck if I had gotten it, but I do like the front end of this truck just a little bit more. I like the projector style. It has a better upscale look to it. Yeah, I kind of wish I would have got my truck. Now we're gonna go to the left today because the sun's better on this side. But look at these machined wheels. They have like this matte black look to them, and they're wrapped in a Bridgestone Dueler tire. Size is gonna be right here. LT 275, 65, 20. Then here's the capacities. 3750, 80 PSI, and for you guys out in Canada, 1700 kilograms. Solid front axle. And then this one was optioned with the mud flaps. Online, these wheels did not look that great. In person, they look great. And the Platinum badge is right here. Now, what's interesting is on the Platinum, they give you the chrome treatment here. On the King Ranch, they give you a painted look. The camera's right below. Same thing goes for the door handles. They are finished in chrome, and a little bit of chrome treatment around the windows on the bottom part of it. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite trim level. And it's my first time seeing the Platinum too, by the way. You have the steps on the side of the bed. And because it's a 1-ton, you do have the 1-ton suspension with that one overload. Exhaust out back in chrome. I would definitely take off that FX4 badge for sure. Painted rear bumpers, parking sensors down below, Class 5 receiving hitch. This is gonna have a 2.5-inch opening. And then here's your hardware. I don't know if you remember seeing it on the window sticker, but this truck did have a 331. 355 is available too. So if you're adding some taller tires, you might want to go for that 355. 7 and 4 pin. Now these trucks do have LED lights for the license plate, and finally full LED taillights. Platinum and Limited have this set up, and yeah, I do like it a lot better. Now the King Ranch does not have the projector style headlights though, so just keep that in mind. But here's the back of the tailgate. Okay. And here's the Star White in the shade. Now let's go ahead and pop the hood and talk about this standard output power stroke. Now it would be fair to assume that the standard output power stroke went unchanged for 2023, but you would be wrong. They did do some enhancements to the combustion, like pretty much for like the cooling, but it does still put out 475 horsepower, 1,050 pound-feet of torque, only to be bested by the Cummins high output torque, which is 1,075. But 10-speed transmission, 10R140s behind this engine, and quite honestly, this engine is really impressive. Like, it can tow 13,000 pounds almost like it's unloaded. So even if you don't get the high output, you're not missing anything in the segment. For anyone who thinks that jumping up to the Platinum is a waste of money, you'd be wrong. They somehow managed to appoint the door cards just a little bit nicer. They add like this suede material right here. You can see some of that orange piping with the stitching, leather. Looks great. I think that the King Ranch does kind of beat it because they add like King Ranch right here, and it does pop really well on the door. Pretty much down below, all this is going to be hard plastic. Now these seats, this is class leading right here. Big butt people will love this truck. Trust me, you will love this truck. And the bolstering, oh man, look at this. Now this truck does have max recline, so if you put the seats all the way down, you'll see how they adjust to give you more support at the bottom here in a second. So you can see that bottom piece lifting up. Okay, and then the seats all the way down. And this does pop up to just give you a little bit more support, like a pillow. Right there. And they give you this like caramel color right there. Also, you can see it on the top of your armrest here in the front. That stitching does continue right there. I'm a sucker for stuff like this. Like, this is a really nice interior, and quite honestly, Ford did themselves an injustice not giving me my Platinum, because if I put this truck up next to my High Country, yeah, it wouldn't have been pretty for GM. So GM, you were very lucky I did not get my truck too, because this is absolutely fire. But you know, hey, that's the problem with Ford, is it's hard to get these trucks. Anything above a Lariat is super hard to come by. But power steering column, pedals, and you have a 10-way driver's seat. And then check this out, Platinum's on the floor. And here's some of the design on the dash. I do like the King Ranches too. This is pretty nice as well though. And right there in the center you see Platinum with some of that wood treatment that you saw on the door. Let's go ahead and pop over to the other side. Pretty much the exact same treatment to the doors. And 10-way passenger seat. You still have that shoulder control. I guess you can call it 12-way seats if you think about it. There is no leather on the grab handles up front. It does say Super Duty right there. And look at this cover. You can actually feel this inside of the wood. This is real wood too. And same thing goes right here. And here's just a better look at this center console. They did a really great job on this build. But all this is pretty much unchanged. This truck does have a rear locker. And then up top, you have your auxiliaries. Here's some of your controls for that big panoramic sunroof. Love that they give you a black roof inside the interior. It does flow extremely well. By the way, the headrests, they do tilt on both sides. Again, more of that suede on the back doors. Man, I am definitely a little bummed that I did not get my Platinum. This is a really nice truck, guys. Outboard heated seats with 2 USBs and multiple power plugs down below, 120 volt, 12 volt. Seat back pockets. And I skipped something on the back, so let's go ahead and jump up front and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. So hopefully you guys can see the buttons here on the side, some of your lighting controls, but what I really want you to see is you can drop the tailgate from inside the truck, right? So this is why Ford is one of the best HDs in the market. Now, if you normally drop the tailgate down, right, you would see the bottom of the ground, and that's all you would see. But Ford is just one of the best, and this is why it's so hard to beat them. They added a backup camera to the top of the tailgate, so you could still see behind you with it down. It doesn't stop there though. They also added sonar to the tailgate, so if you're backing up, you forgot your tailgate's down, you can still make sure you don't come into contact with something with the tailgate down. Super awesome, and I think that this is why it's so hard to beat Ford. Now this truck does have the 2,000 watts of power, does have bed lighting out back, no fifth wheel prep package, but you do have a camera above right there, which gives you this camera view. So if you're hooking up to your fifth wheel, makes it a little bit easier, or your gooseneck trailer. And I didn't show it to you guys, but you can put the tailgate up from inside the truck, outside the truck, whatever you are. Super easy. And yeah, this is one of the best trucks on the market. One of my favorite things about this system here, and I love talking about it because I've been hoping they would do something like this, and they did it. They added your general measurement so you can see your engine coolant, transmission temp, engine oil temperature in the same spot. They also added more for you to look at. Super nice, and it just makes towing a little bit more peaceful, because I like to look at my temperatures, because if I see my transmission temp really getting high, I will pull over, allow it to cool down a little bit, and yeah, it just helps you to get an idea of the temperatures loaded and unloaded when you're towing. This screen here, you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it's pretty customizable. I don't really show you everything inside of here, but Ford did add some really cool features like these onboard scales. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this because I feel as though for those guys who like to overload their trucks, well, you could potentially get hit for that, because this truck could record those things, and it gives you an idea of the payload of the truck, which I'll show you guys here in a second. But I'm inside of the truck, and it is accounting for some of my weight. Something else is the towing features that they have. They have a lot of ways you can set up your trailers and your tire pressure monitoring in this screen. Lastly, navigation. You do have split screen. One thing I like too is you have these different menus on the side here. You can close this down if you'd like. You have your Pro Power on board right there. They also show you a camera view, if I could find it. I think I might have passed it. Yeah, bed camera. So you can literally have your bed camera on this screen too. I love that they do that, so you can kind of check on some of your cargo. And because it's a diesel, you do have 2 modes for the exhaust brake, or engine brake is what they call it. You have on and automatic. That's pretty much everything I wanted to show you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at the payload, and that will pretty much end this video. Really quickly, I wanted to show you, you do have heads-up display. Hopefully you guys can see it right there. It shows the outside temperature, the time, miles per hour, and the speed limit. And I also wanted to show you guys some of the lighting on. So this lower projector is going to be your low beam, and most likely up top there, that's going to be your high beam. So yeah, I would like to test these out at night sometime, but we'll have to wait and see if one ever comes available and I can do that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the payload. As far as the axle ratings go, 5,600 pounds up front. The rear is going to be 7,230 pounds, 12,000 pound gross fuel core weight rating, and all-in payload is 3,973 pounds, which you kind of saw on the screen earlier. But I gotta admit, I'm very impressed by this truck. I really wish I would have gotten mine so you guys could have seen side by side with my High Country. I think most people would have to argue that their Platinum is nicer than Chevy's High Country. And so, hey, it is what it is. Don't get me wrong, this truck is a lot more money, And if you get a limited, which is the highest trim level, it's a lot more money than this. It's still a really premium truck. And I know a lot of people are like, why do you need such a nice truck? It's not that big of a deal. Listen, when you spend a lot of time in your truck and you don't want to have a nice car to drive, this is the next best thing. Like, this gives you basically 2 cars, because not only do you have a luxurious interior, you can also tow big and heavy with this truck.